Hello and welcome to another episode of the Jones and Sports Podcast. We have some great content for you guys tonight, centering around the Detroit Lions draft. That's all wrapped up now. We're going to give our thoughts on that. And also the Pistons are in the fight of their lives in the postseason against the New York Knicks, getting a little bit hosed by the refs, and one game could send them home. So we're going to go ahead and dive into all that juicy goodness right now. But wait, there's more. Usually, we have a shower thought from Brandon to get us rolling into all this sports talk. So, Brand, what's on your mind lately?
Trav is the inspiration for today's shower thought. I want to know what your niche talent is, because Trav's got a pretty interesting one. He mentioned it, I think, on the last pod, but he's got a fun update. So maybe we could learn more about myself and Cody as well if we have any cool talents, but probably not as cool as Trav's. Trav,
Probably
you go
not.
first.
I don't know if it's a talent yet, but I'm working on cultivating it. But we talked about how I was jonesing for Papa Shot on the pod where we interviewed Rob Robbins, and I've been really diving into it. So I didn't just say that one. I went full in, where I've been taking videos and posting my journey to trying to score 100 points in Papa Shot. And I'm happy to say on day 5, I scored 100 points.
Yeah, kick that challenge in the butt.
No, it was 101.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was close. But then I decided to take it up another notch, and I signed up for the national championship qualifying event in Papa Shot in St. Louis. So on May 22nd, Hannah and I will be driving to St. Louis for the qualifying event. And the winner gets to go on and compete on ESPN The Ocho for the national championship in Papa Shot. So I've been doing my homework. I've been studying the film of the guys who won at the San Antonio qualifier and kind of get an idea of, what scores I need to be able to put up fairly regularly to compete. And it's a lot more than 101. 101's not going to get me anywhere. I might be able to get in the top, make the finals of the top 8 with a score like that. But the winners were putting up 120, 130, 140.
Sheesh.
Wow.
But I realized if I want to compete, and I weirdly really want to compete at this, it was taking up my mind. I was sitting at my desk at work and just, instead of thinking, how am I going to sell this fire protection, I thought, what do I need to tweak in my form in Papa Shot? What do I need to do to get my score up? And so I knew that wasn't good. I need to keep working on my sales. So I jumped on Facebook Marketplace and found a Papa Shot that was for sale down here, haggled them down, and went and bought it. So now I have a Papa Shot in my garage.
Let's go.
Attaboy.
And I'm happy to report I scored 121 today.
Whoa!
So we're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Bro.
Watch out, St. Louis. Trav's coming.
I'm happy also to report that on my last video on TikTok, Papa Shot commented on it and said, love to see the determination. We'll see you in St. Louis.
Let's
go. Oh, I love that.
Making the big time.
So, Trav, when you appear on the Ocho, you're going to have to wear a Jonesing for Sports t-shirt for sure.
I'm going to maybe have to wear a split t-shirt because my boss knows about this and he loved it. He said, that is the weirdest thing, but I love that you're doing it. I said, that makes you a good boss. He was very supportive. But he also said, I'm seeing marketing opportunities. We're going to have you in a company shirt. So I might have to split time. And I do owe them because they have a Pop Shot at the warehouse there. And that's where this journey started. So at least I got to have a patch or a hat or something for them.
Well, my other request is that you bring back the Denethor tat, but make it a little bit more visible this time.
Please.
You could get it in a smaller form, but like a teardrop.
I think, maybe you wear a crop top and it's on your belly.
Oh, dude. And your belly button could be one of the cherries that he's munching on.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh. That would go viral in all the ways no one wants to or should ever go viral.
That would go so hard, bro.
That would be really good for the pod, Trav, just so you know.
For the brand.
But I can't tell you how happy it makes me that you are taking this journey.
It made me realize that we go hard on just niche things. So this question that you have, Bran, there's been quite a few avenues we've kind of dabbled like this. Disc golf, we go hard on just these kind of smaller kind of things sometimes.
We hyperfixate quite a bit.
Yes, that's the word, hyperfixate.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But it makes sense though, Trav. Like once you get to a certain age, some people start doing like marathons, or some people birdwatch, and then some people do competitive pop-a-shot. It's just like it's the natural next step of life.
And pop-a-shot's a different skill set. I recently watched a video where Eli Manning challenged Caitlin Clark in pop-a-shot, and he beat her. But the thing is, he beat her 76 to 51. Trav, you're better at pop-a-shot than Eli Manning and Caitlin Clark.
Combined.
Luka Doncic was on Dude Perfect, and they did pop-a-shot, and he only scored 60.
You're better than Luka Doncic at shooting a basketball. That's all I'm saying.
That just gives.
Nico Mannion knew that. Not Nico Mannion. Nico Mavericks GM.
That gives even more merit to Jim Harbaugh's argument in that one Detroiters sketch when he's playing Foaling, and he can't hit the broadside of a barn. He's like, "Do you think Michael Jordan's the king of pop-a-shot? The dynamics are completely different." It just cracks me up. But I think it goes to show he's right.
The dynamics are totally different because, tonight, Hannah was organizing the garage like a good adult, and I'm out there playing pop-a-shot.
It looks like a vibe.
And after each round, I'm talking to her about it. I'm like, in basketball, you want your elbow in, lined up everything real nice, and you flick through it through the finger. It's totally different in pop-shot where you're just kind of flicking the ball, or it's totally different. And it's hard to. I'm at the point where I'm analyzing form deeply and trying to figure out how do I get most efficient.
Don't overanalyze though.
It's a delicate balance though, because I want to
get your best.
But so the guy who won the national championship last year had averaged a score of 130 per round and got up 68 shots per round. And I'm averaging about 56 shots per round.
Oh.
So there's some room for improvement on the speed.
Man, that's a lot of shots.
For a 55-ish second game. So 68 shots in under a minute.
I'm expecting you to get the shots per second up a little bit.
I've been also dabbling with going with two hands because I've watched some videos of some people who just chucking it up there.
Oh, man, you got to get both sides of your brain going to do that, don't you?
Yeah, I realize I sacrifice on the grip because I usually shuffle the ball over to my left hand and get it going that way. But when I'm going one hand after the other, a lot of those balls are just slipping out.
That seems like it'd be challenging to me.
It's never good when your balls are slipping out.
Speaking of balls slipping out, Cody, what's your niche talent?
Funny you say that. There's actually no correlation whatsoever.
I want to put you in a hard spot.
To what I was going to say. Yeah, so back in the day, I had a couple. So I don't remember if this was probably before you guys had moved out of the house. Do you guys remember when I was into stilting?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
even stairs and stuff.
Oh yeah, I
easy.
would climb up and down the stairs, and then there's a picnic table out. I would go around the pool area, which was probably not a great idea, but I'd climb over the dining board and then climb up onto the picnic table, dance around up there. So the thing I've always wanted to do is go. You guys remember Unbeatable Banzuke?
Oh
yeah,
so good.
For those that 99.9% of people who have no idea what that is, it's like Ninja Warrior, except it's with different skills. So you have stilts, you got people that go on unicycles or bikes, and you have to
walk on their hands.
Walk on their hands is an awesome one. Those people are freak athletes. But yeah, they have one with stilts, and I probably wouldn't win, but I think I could actually get pretty far, and so I've always wanted to try that. I think I'm decent at stilts, but also back in the day, rip sticking. I was pretty good at rip sticking,
You were a
which is
big
like
ripper.
not
Really
just like
rip that
rip
stick.
sticking. Like I would go to the basketball court and I'd take a couple basketballs and I'd dribble and do layups while I was rip sticking. Or like if you guys remember at our old high school, there's like the curb that separated the parking lot from the grass, and I
Mhm.
would ride up and down the curb like and just try and see how far I could go without falling off. With a rip stick, like it's like 8-inch wide like curb, not super easy to do. So back in the day, at least, like I guess my balance was pretty good.
Oh yeah, there's apparently quite a few good stilters out there. Like if there's enough to film an Asian challenge show of
Yeah.
stilters. Not arguing that you were phenomenal at stilting code, but if I'm gonna put you in like the highest tier possible of like the 1%ers, ripstick like you ripsticked hard.
Thanks, bro. Yeah,
Do
I took
you
a lot
do
of
you
pride
think
in that.
that you would still have, like, if you hopped on a ripstick or you hopped on a stilt, do you think it would come right back to you, or would you struggle now?
So I can answer that a little bit because Brooke and I went rip sticking just randomly together.
Man, you guys are such a
Um,
great couple.
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, we actually did it a couple times because we went around Grace, like the Winona trails. We rip sticked through there, and we did a
Like, you
little.
you guys, like, did you see people and did you have any shame at all?
No, my thought was like, we're 28, rip sticking. Like this is awesome. Like
Okay,
that we
cool.
can just be kids.
I had my garage door open and I've got Pop Shot going, way to go, bonus time, swish, pretty loudly when the and I live in an apartment. So there's people driving by, walking their dogs, and there's just this 34-year-old in his garage putting up shots.
This might be
I was ashamed, Code,
blasphemous.
so I'm proud of you for not being ashamed.
Well, it might be blasphemous. Can you turn down the volume, or is that like a complete no-no? That's like a disrespect to the Papa Shot community.
You can turn the volume down, and I did a few times, but it's not the same. You got to have that noise.
Does
So I
that
say
fuel
I
you
was
a little bit
ashamed, but I still played with the sound on.
when you start just nailing shots and it's like continues to hype you up? Does that like kind of
Yeah,
get you
yeah.
there?
I had a few times in that first 30 seconds tonight where I had a pretty good streak, and the machine was going nuts. Like I think its programming got confused because it was just like, oh, on fire! Oh!
You just are making that machine's day.
So yeah,
Oh,
Code, that hyped me up.
I'm really proud of you guys.
Um, Last one I would say for me is turbo putting in disc golf.
Yeah,
Um,
I've seen that.
I don't know why. It just like it feels right. Can't really do it too well in the wind, so that's why I don't do it over a regular putt. But every once in a while, can make something magical happen.
Code, I would put you in the high percentage tier of ambidextrous disc golf
Yeah.
because already not many people are
I was gonna
ambidextrous at
say I think
all.
that's why, because like
But also,
for
you
the
chuck it.
people that can throw a disc left-handed, like they probably throw it a bit better than I do. Mine is like either hey that's a pretty decent shot for your left hand or WTF Richard type moment. So it's like anything but refined.
I've seen fewer and fewer Richard moments though when you've been throwing left-handed. I've been very impressed with that.
Well,
'Cause
thanks.
you see
Well,
my
it's really
right hand.
frustrating. I'll throw left-handed on the hole because I'm a lefty, and I'll throw it bad. And then you'll throw left-handed because it's your secondary arm, and you'll throw better. And I'm like, oh man,
My right arm's getting tired.
Yeah.
Switch up a little bit.
Time for me to retire.
My
One thing with
favorite
Pop.
thing
Oh, yeah, you
is
go.
is when one of you lefties is like, "What the heck is this line here? Like, this is trash. Like this design or whatever." And I'll be like, "I'll show you how it's done." And usually I smoke the first tree available when I do that because it's a ridiculous line, especially for your secondary arm. But maybe 3% of the time, I'll throw a stupid shot and I can just saunter off the tee pad.
That's so good. Bran, what's yours?
Uh, Well, I'm not as exciting as you guys, but Cody reminded me of something. That's the reason I asked if he could still do it, because I used to have a talent. Because when he was talking about using the stilts to go upstairs and stuff, Trav, do you remember when I used to practice my handstands and then I would try to walk up the stairs and just fall so hard?
Yeah.
Okay, so I super can't do it anymore. But now, if I think about the way I used to fall, I would die. I my body is a broken mess now.
Falling from a handstand on stairs, there's not
Yeah,
really a
I'll just
great way
laugh
to
it off
fall.
and be like, "Oh, that hurt. I'll never feel it ever again." I'm so sore today because I had slow pitch softball 2 nights ago. Like, why are my hamstrings so tight?
We were made of rubber back then.
Yeah.
Like
My arm's tired from Papa Shot today.
I think that one wins.
Oh man. So anyways, that's not my niche talent because I used to be really good at walking on my hands and now I can't even probably do a handstand. I think I lost you guys. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Just keep
Oh,
going.
you're frozen on my screen. I don't know if this is a talent as much as just as a passion. I'm pretty much, I would say, Lord of the Rings lore master,
Oh yeah.
where I could tell you just a lot of really random facts that no one will ever care about. But like, I could probably go through and tell you like the lineage of some of the elves that were in the first age down to the third age, and it's not important information, but it's the stuff that's in my brain. So I'd say, yeah, Lord of the Rings lore is up there, and then
For
also
sure.
just not exciting. I would tend to do really well at board games, but
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
definitely.
not as I would say sexy as Papa Shot or stilting or rip sticking, but that's just what I've been.
Sexy is the word
The hands
there,
I've
yeah.
been dealt with.
Should we rank
Is-
the sexiness of all these niche things? Because I think I'm
Alright.
going rip sticking number 1.
That's tough.
I don't know. I never made content from my ripstick. Like I never
That's
got
true.
likes on Instagram like Papa Shot
Only
does.
one of us is
and you got a
competing for a
tournament.
national championship.
Exactly. Like I think that gets my number 1 vote.
Handstanding and falling great on stairs is an awesome skill to have.
Oh yeah, but that's long gone.
Trav, you're a really good juggler. We didn't talk about that.
That's true.
Yeah, not a 1%er though, but
Yeah, but like I remember, like I got a story. You probably remember this when we were at Creighton's Crazy Cafe, and they had cornhole outside.
yeah, I
And you
forgot
said, "Hey,
about
Code,
that.
you want to have a juggling battle?" And I said, "Sure. I've never done a juggling battle before." And so then I had like 3, of the bags because that's all I could juggle. And Trav grabs 4 because he can juggle 4 like that. Can you do 5 or is it just 4?
No, four is another game.
And I can like barely juggle 3, so I'm
I
locked
can't
in.
juggle 2.
I'm locked. You might want to get that checked out. I'm
too late.
locked in trying to make sure that I don't drop something, and then all of a sudden I just get smoked in the face by something, and I'm on the ground because like I was so focused on these beanbags or whatever you call them, and I like once I come to and realize like what happened. Trav is still juggling 3 beanbags, and he used the 4th as a weapon because it was a juggling battle, and I didn't know that's
obviously.
what he meant. I thought like we were going for longevity, maybe some style points. He was already at a slight advantage with 4 to my 3. No, he was
straight up
talking
battle.
about juggle combat, which if there was such a thing, Trav, I think you might be a 1%er.
That would be a lot of fun. That we talk about getting hyper fixated on stuff. Juggling had its summer, where even when we had like family campouts, me and one of our cousins, shout out Justin, we would just see how many things we could juggle. Like we're sounding really not cool right now, but it was so fun.
Gotta dispel any of those false notions people have about us.
Yeah, so if we were still ranking the sexiness of these niche things that we excelled at, juggling is last place by a mile.
I don't know. we
you
should
light it
probably
on
get into
fire or
sports.
something.
Oh
Well,
no,
hold
this has been
up.
a great conversation.
Bran, I would extend yours to just party games in general. Because for you, I was thinking like we'd play Mario Party, and you could press the A button faster than anyone like I ever knew. Like if we're trying to use a pommel to destroy the cactus, the segments of the cactus, it'd take a normal person like 12 seconds, and Brandon's done in 3.5. Like it's just always been like that growing up. He can crush at the party games. I'd also say you always have a GIF or meme for any instance
Oh
in
my
life,
gosh. It
no
blows our
matter what.
dad's mind. Anytime we have a family conversation and Brandon shares a GIF or a meme, like our dad's just like, Brandon, how do you do that?
Yeah, I don't get it because it is not that impressive.
You do it
It
much
is
better than
very good.
anyone else I know, especially in our family. But Trav, for you, I would also do. You have a top tier Kermit voice.
It's true.
I'd say you're in a 1%er of that. And I also respect your ability to watch things that you don't like or agree with. The way
Oh
that
yeah.
you hate watched The Acolyte and then gave Brandon and I weekly updates just so that we'd be informed and you could vent about how terrible it was. Even though you didn't have to watch it, you weren't held at gunpoint, but you did it anyways. And I really respect you for that.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed hate watching The Acolyte. And again, I didn't hate watch it for the wokeness of it, like reasons. It just sucked. It was a poorly written show, for its own merit. um, well, I just totally. You ever just have something right there and then it just disappears, dementia style?
Yeah, all the time. It's terrifying.
Wow, I have no wisps of what I was gonna say. Completely gone.
Well, Brandon, you want to take us into our next segment? And Trav, if you think of it, we can jump back.
Yeah, so we want to talk Lions draft. It was I don't know what the word is.
I remember.
Do
I
you want
remember.
to
Go
talk
ahead.
about lions, or do you want to talk about another animal?
Kermit the Frog. Um, I remembered. I'm not going to do the Kermit voice on this. However, I did do the Kermit voice on a podcast much bigger than ours at one point. I called in to the Disc Golf Answer Man and asked a disc golf question as Kermit the Frog. And Kermit voice must not be that great because our good friend Jordan was listening to that podcast like in the shower, and he said he heard that part, or his wife heard it, and came running in and said, "I'm pretty sure this is Travis." And yeah, so not gonna do it on here, but if you want to dig through the archives of that once great disc golf podcast, it's there. Now to the Lions, the real animal.
All right, so just a really quick recap on the Lions draft. Each of us is going to give our favorite and our least favorite pick, along with a total draft grade, just to maybe see how we're feeling. 'Cause we haven't really talked about it that much, so we could be wildly different. We could be, as usual, pretty homogenous. So, does anyone want to go first?
I'll give my draft grade first.
All right.
I feel like this draft was the A+ student getting an A- and being really disappointed about it, because Brad Holmes has been an A+ student, and this felt like the teacher calls the student up and goes, "Brad, this just you're capable of an A+. You still got an A. Most students in this class would be happy with what you just did. You're capable of more." I'm happy with the draft. It's I think they filled some holes and the team is better, but it wasn't flashy, almost anywhere. But when I look at each player, I like almost everyone they got. So, like the homegrown guy of Tesla, he might be my favorite, and he might never play this year because like his RAS score was off the charts. He's from Michigan. He won a state championship in Michigan as a quarterback. That's pretty neat. And now he's a freak athlete, wide receiver who in a deep wide receiver room. I think I know what Cody's favorite person is going to be, so I'll stick with Tesla for now.
I want you
Yeah.
to try and guess.
The defensive end from Boise State.
It is not.
Okay. Well, I'll
Don't
go with
worry,
him then.
that's mine.
Okay. I'll
Perfect.
let Brandon cover him because that guy's a dog.
All right. So Ahmad Hassanin. I'm not sure how to say his name, but I love that pick. He was a 6th rounder, so you're like, you kind of don't expect a ton. I think he's gonna definitely rotate in at edge. He's got production. He had like 20 some sacks in college. I watched the film from the Boise State Penn State game, and he played well. He had the 2nd most tackles on the team, and he had a sack. Anybody who sacks Drew Aller is good in my book. And then when obviously he was talking to Coach Campbell, he said, "Coach, I'll die for you on the field." So the dude is just straight up like he's a dog. He's got the grit index. I think he broke the grit index. Someone that like we love Aiden Hutchinson because he's like he works so hard. He's going to give his all. I think like Aiden Hutchinson is gonna like see this guy and be like, dude, you gotta chill out a little bit. Like this guy's gonna make Aiden Hutchinson blush. So I'm really excited about him. The one thing I'll say is watching his highlights, he's got a lot of near misses where he gets the pressure and then he like doesn't know how to finish that well yet. He kind of just throws his body at the quarterback. So form tackling, got to work on that a bit. It'll be interesting to see because all I'm looking for is someone to keep offensive lines honest. And if he's getting a bunch of pressures, that's going to do the job. But there's a lot of Lions fans from a certain bent who are really negative on Aiden Hutchinson for getting a lot of pressures but not as many sacks. And if this guy is getting pressures but not sacks, I'm interested to see that his maybe reception from a certain fan base that also is fans of the Lions, because I could see that being a thing where he gets a lot of pressures but doesn't quite finish the job. And that's something hopefully he'll develop in. But man, in the 6th round, if you get a guy that is going to play for you, because I mean, eventually Marcus Davenport is gonna not be able to play, and then we've got this guy we got in the 6th round from Boise State that I think is gonna be playable. So I think that's a steal. He's just man, his attitude is I love it. So that's my favorite pick. I'll just while I'm talking, I'll give my grade. I'll give the whole draft a B plus. I think I liked the way they went about it, the positions they hit. But I don't know if this was on the pod or if we were just talking. I believe Trav asked me at one point, what are my expectations for the draft? And I said, the Lions are going to draft the player that's going to get them over the hump to win the Super Bowl. I don't know that I see that here. I don't see like a star. Like I think Tyleik Williams is going to be a solid defensive tackle. I don't know that he's going to be a star defensive tackle. Tate Ratledge, I think he's going to be a really good guard. I don't know that he's going to, I mean, do you know many star guards? Like, I don't know. He'll be a good player at a position of need. The one thing I will say is I'm a little bit annoyed with Brad because he says that he doesn't draft for needs. He only drafts like the players he likes. And so that's his rationale for avoiding picking edge players early. But his first 2 picks were defensive tackle, which was a huge need, and guard, which was a huge need. He actually double dipped at guard. So he does pick needs. I feel like it's a little hypocritical, but
I feel like that answer wasn't the full answer. Like you're right. He definitely drafts for need, but it's almost like if he views a guy in a position that's not the number 1 position of need, but he's closer to being the top best available, he might not go with that first position of need. It might still be a position of need, but he's picking the player he likes more from a guard.
I get that, but I just have a fundamental. The more I talk, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna knock someone with a B instead of B plus because I have a fundamental disagreement with Brad about the importance of that other edge position, because he said like I was listening to his radio appearance on 97.1 where he's like, you can't get two elite edges. And I'm just like, okay, don't get two elite edges. Have one elite edge and one very good edge. Because right now you're relying on Marcus Davenport to play when he has not had a healthy season in like 4 years in a row. And then behind him you have Pascal, who is not really a get pressure on the quarterback guy. He's more of like a run defender. And then now we have Hassanine, which I like him, but he's still a 6th round edge. Have realistic expectations for him. I actually spent some time looking this up. If you value, because I think getting to the quarterback is probably the most important thing you can do on defense. The top, I tried to look up top 10, but because of ties, I had to go top 15. The top 15 sack getters last year, out of the top 15 guys, 8 of them were teammates. So more than half of the time, if you've got two guys that are going off, like they're benefiting each other and they're going to be towards the top. If I would have extended it to like top 20, it gets even more prolific. So Aiden Hutchinson is basically on his own island. He has to do it by himself. Where the other guys who are getting the most sacks in the league, they've got a running mate, someone who can take some pressure off them, someone who's going to alleviate the double teams. And so that's why I just disagree with the strategy. But hey, maybe maybe Tyreek is going to be an insane pass rusher that he wasn't at Ohio State. I mean, he'll be decent, like he can do it, but he's just not. I mean, he's not Aaron Donald. I don't know. So I think edge rusher is a need, and hopefully Hassanine is going to be amazing. But 6th rounder, let's cool our jets. Cody, before I talk about my least favorite pick, Cody, you haven't said much, so let's hear your voice.
Yeah, so I was gonna give it a B, like you eventually talked down to
B
Bryn.
bros.
B bros. Trav, in your analogy of an A student like going to the teacher and getting an A minus, I think he went to the teacher and got a B, and that's why he's getting a talking to. It's kind of funny. In years past, when the Lions sucked, we would kind of get mad at them when they would just kind of pick maybe luxury type picks. And we're like, you're not good enough to be doing that. You need to rebuild the trenches. Now we're in a position where it's like, hey, we really need an edge. And you know what? It's still in Brad Holmes we trust. I love the dude. But he said, look, here, you got your edge. We used our 6th round pick to get one. And Hassanine's like, coach, I will die for you on that field. And you know what? That makes me love the dude. But there's a reason you're picked in the 6th round. Mm-hmm. You might die on the field because you're going to be giving your all. And, you only got a RAS score of 7, which he was the number 1 crossfitting teen in Egypt. So what that tells me is either he kind of fell off a little bit in his CrossFit training, which, considering his temperament and personality, I don't think that's the case. So the only other alternative is that the CrossFit game in Egypt is a joke, and we can't really use that as a metric. So I love the passion that he's going to bring, but drafting your edge in the 6th round doesn't really resolve that issue. Yeah, I think for the value, it's a great piece or nice rotational piece, but I want to see us go out and get a guy who's going to pressure the quarterback and be a day 1 starter, because that's what this team needs to take that jump to the next level. Brandon, you're talking about you want to see them get a pick that's going to take them back to the championship conversation, to get them over that hump. And I didn't see any guys that they picked in this draft that are going to do that. So, I like a lot of the picks, but they just felt like safe picks. They didn't have any of those guys who are going to be, this is our X factor. He is going to make all the difference on our defense and finally make us who we need to be, give us that identity. I like Tyreek Williams. It's a position of need. Tate Ratledge, I think he's going to be a solid guard for us. And that is something that we need. We're thin at guard at the moment. But, Tesla, was probably actually my least favorite pick, which is kind of a bummer because I want to just be excited for the dude. He's got the physicals. I know he didn't produce at Arkansas. I think maybe it's because he went to Arkansas. Like, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but Detroit writers are still slotting him in at like maybe wide receiver 4 eventually. Not even now, like eventually. And this is our third round pick that we traded several third rounds in the future for when people thought this guy was going to fall to round 5 or 6. So I understand if you like a guy, you got to go out and get him. But this is the type of pick where I really want to start seeing some upside pretty soon, because otherwise, what did you see in him to make you use that draft capital when you could have went out and got an edge? So I like these guys, good character guys, but I don't see that dominant piece that we needed.
And there were a few edge guys that potentially could have been that guy, but they don't fit from a character perspective. They don't fit the Lions culture. But one of those guys was drafted by the Ravens. Another guy was drafted by the Falcons.
There was no shot they were ever getting Mike Green. I never was worried about that.
I'm just saying, Mike Green's probably going to be a really good Raven.
Oh, he will.
And the Ravens defense is going to be the Ravens defense because they just want to get the best players out there. All I'm saying is you could have invested there, and Brad Holmes said he actually tried to trade up because there was one guy they really liked, but they were unable to complete a deal. My question is, did you try very hard, because you were willing to give up a lot to get Tesla? I mean, and that was in the third round, and you're giving up multiple thirds just to move up into the third. So I'm like, oh, what did you offer him? Like a bag of chips? And I also was wondering like who it was that they were going after. Trav's school analogy is really ringing a bell for me because I was an A student, and there was one time I was concussed, and I turned in a quiz to a teacher, and I'm pretty sure I literally just wrote gibberish because she looked at it and was like, "What is wrong with you?" And she called my mom because she said, "Something's wrong with him because this is the worst thing I've ever seen." And I'm pretty sure that it would have been like an F. And she knew that I was so messed up that she didn't even hold it against me. So thank you, Mrs. Klein. But I've never had like a test that bad before. And sometimes, if you get your bell rung a bit, like I did in basketball practice, you just don't have your best stuff. So I agree. I don't think it was his best stuff. It probably wasn't an F like mine, but I also don't think it was a great draft, but it was a solid draft because you're getting players at positions of need, which technically he says he's not trying to do, which he did. I mean, the guard, Tate Rowledge is going to be a really good guard, and then Miles Frazier, who he got in the 5th round,
that's actually
crazy
my pick.
value.
That's my pick.
That's a great pick.
Dude's a freak, can start all over the line, and you got him in the 5th round. That's a great pick.
That's the thing is like Brad does this every year. He goes crazy trading up for some guys, and we're like, "What are you doing?" And then in the 5th, 6th rounds, he gets steals. He did the same thing last year where he got Christian Mahogany in like the 5th or 6th round. And he also got another defensive tackle that played for us last year in like the 6th round. But I do think Tesla is basically Broderick Martin all over again, or Giovanni Manu, or Sione Vaki. Like every draft, Brad does this. He loves his developmental prospects, and he'll trade up for them. I just don't understand, like, I know you love your guys, but can't you have, like, maybe a short list of guys so that if Tesla doesn't happen to drop to you, you could go to your next guy that you like because he doesn't have production, but he's fast and tall? I just, I don't really agree with trading up for developmental guys. I think you trade up for guys that are sure things. Like, you trade up for a corner that's going to be great, a wide receiver that's going to be great, an edge rusher that's going to be great, maybe a quarterback that's going to be great, but a guy that you're projecting, I think those guys you have to let fall to you.
Well, I think Brad
giving up 2/3 is just crazy to me.
Are those thirds he gave up the compensatory picks? And I think he might just think of those as, hey, they gave me free picks to trade.
I know, but it's just the thing is, the reason we're hard on Brad is because we believe in Brad. And you look at guys that he's drafted, like 3rd round, he drafted Aleem McNeil. 4th round, he drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, the dude is a gem miner, but he's just giving away these picks. And hopefully the ones that he's given away, he's taking in are going to hit, because I don't know. Broderick Martin, I don't think we'll see the roster next year. I don't think he makes the opening day 53. Giovanni Manu, we'll see. He did not take a snap last year. And yeah, I guess we'll see with Tisla. Fingers crossed.
One word answers from you guys on just the biggest draft story of the draft. Was it racism that caused Shadir Sanders to fall to the 5th round?
Yeah, obviously, because the first round pick, Cam Ward, was oh shoot, he was also black. So never mind. Scrap it.
Yeah, I walked into a gas station and there was some talk show, and this lady was going on about how racist it was.
Was it Joy Taylor?
I don't know who it was because I only heard the snippet as I walked into the gas station, but I wouldn't be surprised. Everyone at ESPN is pushing that narrative hard.
What's hilarious to me is that like owners, GMs, like they've all been very forthcoming about how we're looking for guys who are going to be very professional and like level-headed, good team culture guys. And so it's just hilarious to me that people are making this a race issue because they're inherently saying in that argument that unprofessionalism and not being good for the culture is a black trait, which is like that's
way
what you're
more
saying.
racist.
That's way more racist than this could possibly ever be. And nobody like that saying that this isn't racist is taking that stance. It's the people that think this is racist that are saying, "Oh, they're not drafting him because he's very unashamedly black." It's like, no, it's because he's not a good culture fit. He is all about him, and that does not have to be restricted to any one skin color. But you're trying to make it that so. That's not a side of the argument I would want to be on.
The best argument I saw for his fall was that GMs genuinely didn't have him as a first round talent. And then when you factor in the extra-ness of a Sanders, that it's not worth it having a backup that's going to cost. Like, look at Tebow and the extraness that came along with him. Like, no one wanted him on the team because there's just so much extra, like, notoriety and just drama in the locker room that coaches don't want, even if you're a good talent.
Yeah, he's not a first round talent, but he's a first round jerk. But he's also not like a 5th round talent. He's probably a day 2. Round 2 or round 3 would make sense. The reports were that he took the pre-draft process so lightly that he basically was parading himself as if he was a top 5 talent, and he didn't take the interview seriously. He didn't prepare for them, which the NFL views them as job interviews, and he's like, why would I have to do a job interview? You've seen me play. They're like, yeah, we've seen you play, and we want to make sure like that you're a fit. And it sounds like literally no one came away like, I want this kid on my team. And if you saw the like video of the Browns draft room when they announced that they picked him, they were not happy.
They weren't high-fiving
for the show that keeps on giving in the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
What a fun quarterback room that's going to be. The memes are all over the timeline already of Deshaun Watson and Shadur walking around the locker room together. It's such a treat.
My favorite meme that's going around for Shadur right now is Colorado retired his jersey at his number, and he has his number and name up in the stadium. And the videos have them putting the curtain back over his name as he didn't get drafted. I like that one a lot.
I saw a report that said he fell so far because in his interviews he insisted that they play a game of Settlers of Catan.
Yeah, I wouldn't draft that.
Which I can't imagine. I know is not totally accurate, but I think that's not too far off from how lack of serious his tone was in these interviews. Dude just thought he was untouchable.
And I do think the NFL was maybe sending a little message like, take the pre-draft process seriously. Like, we take it seriously. If you don't take it seriously, even if we know that you're probably worth a 2nd or 3rd round pick, like, we're not going to touch you. Because the fact that the Browns took Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, which I thought was crazy, and then took Shadeur on top in the 5th round, like, it did seem like teams were trying to maybe send a little bit of a message to players, like, even if you're good, like, you've got to try to represent yourself well. Maybe hire a real agent next time. So your dad.
You know, the race baiting is something that I'm just used to. I expect that from people. What I still can't wrap my head around is people online treating Shador like some martyr and talking about how like they're mad at the NFL, so they're not going to purchase any of his jerseys directly through the NFL. He has his own website where they're saying everybody purchase your Shador jerseys through this website, so he gets all the royalties. And that way we
Can
can
you
make
do
sure
that?
that he. Apparently, I don't know. It's like
Dang.
I haven't really looked super far into it, but like he's not a martyr, okay? He has like a diamond like chain piece that he got for the draft that is more expensive than the signing bonuses that most of the players signed that day. Like the dude is doing
He'll
fine
be
and
okay.
he'll be okay.
It with all the notoriety that this has brought to like the importance of drafting a quarterback that takes the process seriously. Videos of DeMarcus Russell have been popping up on my timeline lately, and of the time when the coaches gave him a DVD with film to watch, and they said, "Watch this. We'll go over it tomorrow." And then the next practice, they said, "All right, Russell, what did you think?" He's like, "Oh, dude, I'm good. We can do all this stuff. I'm a baller." The DVD was blank. They gave him a blank DVD.
Yeah.
Same with like Johnny Manziel, drafted quite high, 1st rounder, great talent, college talent, never studied film, didn't take things seriously. Like there's been and I'm not comparing Sanders like mentality necessarily to that, but he didn't take the draft process seriously.
Drafted
And
once again by the Browns, the show that keeps on giving.
yeah, so that is a red flag to these guys. Like take the process seriously. It is a job, and it's a job interview, even if you're the greatest at it.
Yeah.
Respect the process.
I love those posts that say like who's stopping this offense, and it just shows 5 quarterbacks. And it's like, nobody can stop all 5 of them.
I read somewhere one of the tactics that NFL teams used is they would give like a playbook to players like that, and in towards the back they would slip $100 bill, and then if they didn't get it back, they would know either they didn't read that far or they pocketed it and they wouldn't ask about it. They're like, either way, we don't really want someone like that. So I found that interesting, like the lengths that these teams go to figure out if a guy is going to fit or not.
Brand, isn't that actually from Draft Day, the movie?
No, I read about that in an athletic article too. It's like a real
Oh,
thing.
somebody really did it. So the movie took it from real life.
They based that off of like an actual thing that teams do.
That's why the Lions draft wasn't as good.
Athletic article about the movie. But it's interesting. Number one, but also Trav, you mentioned dementia moments. I just realized we completely skipped one of our outline points.
That's
When
why
did
I
you want to
asked.
talk about the gorilla?
That's why I asked early on in the pod, and people, I didn't push the issue, but people probably thought, "Oh, Cody, what's wrong with you?" When I said, "Are you sure you want to talk about the lions and not another animal?" They're like,
"Yeah, Kermit the Frog."
What the heck is he talking about?
I'm so sorry.
That's all good.
Yeah, so
this pod has been a mess anyway, so let's jump into it.
I've been really enjoying it though, just the conversation. I hope listeners enjoy it, but from my personal enjoyment, this has been fun.
Yeah, I'm for it.
But yeah, back to Cody's initial build-up to this one. You guys have heard of the who would win in a fight, 100 men or 1 gorilla? Let's first just quickly to see what side of the page we're on. Who's winning that fight? Just quickly, without getting into it. And then we can get into it.
All right, initial thoughts. I said gorilla. And then the more I dug into it, some like gorilla scientist got on and was like, guys, it would be the people because gorillas are like generally really peaceful and they're not very smart. And I'm just like, okay, but, and I'm like ape-splaining to the ape scientist.
Well, you jumped in the comments?
No. Like in my head.
Oh, okay.
I don't
You idiot!
comment.
You don't know.
I don't comment on Twitter very often. I'm
was
more
gonna say,
of
that
a
would-
lurker. But in my head, I'm
Be a step
ape-splaining.
for you.
Because they say that an ape can potentially, or I'm sorry, not an ape, a gorilla, because I gotta get my terms right, or else the
important.
scientists will jump on me. The gorilla, there's hypothesis, because they haven't been able to get a gorilla to bench press, but they hypothesized that a gorilla could bench press 10 times its body weight.
How much does a gorilla weigh?
All right, so the average gorilla weighs like 300 pounds, but there have been silverback gorillas that have weighed 600 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
You can do the math on that. He is swatting us across the nation. I mean, that kind of strength, I don't care how many men you got. That's going to be, that's like, he's like a god amongst men at that point.
And in this fight, the gorillas should put up their best warrior. They should put up their Goliath.
Yeah.
Because we're going to pick our best 100.
For the sake of the argument, this is not a peaceful gorilla. Like, he's motivated. He knows what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that scientist didn't understand the actual scenario and is probably an idiot. But I was saying, oh no, because I thought we had the same exact journey, Bran. Because my initial thought was gorilla wins so much, so easily, because humans so much just like overestimate their abilities. Like I remember there was a debate between like, I think it was the amount of men who thought that they could take on a wolf in barehanded combat, and there's a lot of men that think they would win, and that gives me genuine like, we have no hope for our future type thoughts. Brian, was that look that you think you could take on a wolf?
I think I could put up a. I think
you
I
could not beat a
I'm gonna
wolf.
take a lot of damage.
Oh yeah,
okay?
You're not.
I might die later.
Hand to hand. You don't have a knife.
I'll choke that wolf out.
Yeah, that's what my thoughts were too.
How are you going to even get behind him?
Wolves are not
First
like
of all,
big cats.
He's gonna bite my arm.
Yeah, he's
and
gonna,
then I'm gonna
bite
jump
your
on his
wrist and
back.
you're gonna bleed out.
Okay, I'll bleed out later. But
Yeah.
first of all, I got time to choke that
Killing
wolf.
that wolf.
No, you're not
Wolves
bleeding out
are
later.
not
He's
as
latching
big
on
as
and
you're
ragdolling.
imagining.
Okay, wolves are big
They're
and
big.
They are
scary.
big.
They're big.
They're big and scary.
They're
but
big.
They're not like a gorilla. Okay.
We had
And
this.
Listen, you have a better
They're all
chance against
legs,
a wolf,
dude.
obviously, but like, you're like choking out. That's the only thing you could hope to do. And
Yeah.
you got to get lucky. Your reflexes are not faster than a wolf.
No,
No.
I'm giving him my forearm.
All right, at least you have a plan. So you're gonna give him the
I've
meaty.
thought about this.
You're gonna give him the meaty part of the forearm, yeah. Try and avoid like
The exterior part, I don't know. Like
Yeah,
he's
you
gonna
know,
bite it, and then I'm gonna rip around like Legolas on the. Okay, I'm getting into Lord of the Rings again. I'm just gonna rip around, and he's gonna tear me up for sure. And I'm probably gonna lose from my elbow down, but he's gonna lose his life.
The thing that in that scenario, because if you're on its back, choking the wolf out, the bottom legs of that wolf are going crazy. You probably got to wrap your legs around it too.
Yes.
Your
Mhm.
thighs, it might be what kills you, is that wolf's hind legs are going to scratch the crap out of your legs.
Oh yeah, they will eviscerate them.
At the same time, I agree, Brian. I think we can take a wolf.
You guys
One
are
solo
idiots.
wolf,
But here's
and maybe not the biggest and strongest wolf.
You protect that neck. You make sure it doesn't bite a artery or a jugular, and if you can get position.
I learned
Give me-
early on that humans are sitting nice and cushy because they have never been thrown into these situations where they're facing an animal that like has that backed into a corner, I'm gonna kill you type energy. I realized that through fighting our dog Jayla, who is a small Springer Spaniel, like a pretty sure the runt of the litter. And I would wrestle with Jayla and be like, yeah, I can so overpower Jayla. That is until I one time stepped between her and a piece of Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I saw the fire, not the fire, like she was possessed. Like I was looking at this dog that I love and I was like, I don't recognize this creature anymore because she was pure rage. And when I tried to restrain her, I couldn't. And she started just destroying like my hands and my arms. And I think she was still holding back a little bit because she wasn't going for the kill. If she was, she would have went for my throat, but she didn't. And I'm really thankful for that. So I can continue to talk in this pod today. That was a small Springer Spaniel who I actually got to see her unhinged. I do not want to see a wolf unhinged. There's just no shot.
Cody did some things to Jayla to break her mind. One of my favorites is like Cody fought with Jayla, which was fun, like in a great fun way. We all loved it. But Cody would do the Kalema from Indiana Jones, like, and have his hand come close to Jayla. She would lose her mind. And now anyone who, if you go close to Jayla, our dog, and put your hand close and say that, freaks out.
Okay, so a couple notes. One, it was Forfeit Your Mind from the Shadow of Mordor games.
Kalema.
And it wasn't just Forfeit Your Mind. It was also You Will Obey, Suffer Me Now, You Are Mine,
All right, that's even better.
Obwath, and a couple other elven phrases, because that's when Celebrimbor will brand an orc. And so naturally, I did that to Jayla.
Naturally.
The other note of that is I haven't done that in years. And if you do that to her and you don't say the words, she's fine. So I didn't turn her into this feral animal. But what family members will now do is they will pick up where I left off and try and just keep that spark of anger going inside of her to see if they can rile her up again. I refuse to do it because I realize I might have pushed her a little bit too far. But yes, if you were to try and get her riled up, you could.
Now the family does it, and Jayla gets riled up, and they go, Cody, you did this.
It's been so many years. Will I do it to Taylor and Daniel's dog, Clark? Maybe, but not to Jayla anymore.
All right, so with the gorilla content...
So I was at first Team Gorilla, but then I was on Twitter, and I saw a scientist who this person said, I'm actually like an ape gorilla type scientist.
Was it Brandon?
It was probably Brandon's burner. And I can't remember the points that they made in the conversation, but they seemed like really well put together. And they were like, yeah, I think we're overestimating the gorilla's abilities. I think the humans would win. But there would be a lot of casualties.
Oh, yeah.
The internet says the wolves would win 99 out of 100 times.
Yeah, but
who's the internet?
Doctor Strange that just takes one.
That's right.
Who's the internet? What are you getting that from? Like an AI Google search?
So first AI, then Reddit, and then Quora.
Wow.
Quora is just a minefield of great answers.
I think that's where they said 99 out of 100 times.
And so is Reddit. Reddit's possibly worse.
So what you're saying is I have more of a chance than I thought.
Sure. Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. But not because Redditors think so.
Well, what they did say that maybe did convince me a little bit is that wolves are apex predators. And they take down like moose. And I'm scared of moose. I couldn't take down a moose, I'll tell you that.
Know how big a moose is?
Yeah, but a moose...
Just jump on its neck and choke it out, Bran.
No, a moose can't do that, Code.
Because I couldn't get up to his neck. He's so big. And then even if I was on his neck, he'd wear me like a necklace.
Moose are scary.
So I might be Team Wolf now. That swung me.
Bran, a moose can't choke out a wolf, though.
That's
and
true. He only has hoofs.
Yeah. He only has hooves.
You guys are morons.
All right, we need to get a wolf. That's going to get our views up so much. Human versus wolf. They're going to come shut us down, but man, it'll be glorious.
If I was a billionaire, if I was Mr. Beast, I'd be like,
the Beast Games.
On this episode of Beast Games, 100 humans versus a gorilla.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast.
First, in the undercard, we have one normal human versus a wolf.
One chubby man fighting his dream opponent.
Not even D3, just a man.
Timberwolf.
Just a regular dude.
Wait a few years, maybe we can set up this matchup against that new dire wolf that just came out.
I'll take the dire wolf. I don't believe in the dire wolf.
All right, Trav, keep us going.
All right. So back to gorillas. What we're going to do, whether you believe that humans can beat it or not, we're going to pick. It sounds like most believe that the gorilla is going to win. So 10 guys is probably not going to do the job in this argument if we don't think 100 is. So we'll pick 10 guys maybe as the captains from state of Michigan sports teams, past and present, who would give us the best fighting chance against the gorilla. So it could be
Let's do this
anybody.
draft style, so we get one at a time.
I had a whole strategy. Oh, go ahead.
All right, I'm brain farting, but my number one pick, the Red Wings guy from the early 2000s, who was the enforcer.
He's on all those commercials now.
He was the fighter. I'm not picking him necessarily because he's gonna
McCarty.
Yes. Yep. I'm picking him to be our leadoff hitter. I do think the good strategy is to swarm fight and not Star Wars lightsaber fight and one at a time. Like, everyone's got to come, but you need somebody to have the brass danglers to be able to go, yeah, I'm going to run at this gorilla first. That guy, a hockey player, just felt like the right choice, and he is such a brave fighter. He's going to get torn into two pieces instantly, but it gives the rest of our team a chance, and he sets that tone that he's going out knowing that he's going to throw down with this gorilla.
So who did you pick, Trev?
McCarty.
McCarty, gotcha.
So I have a real first-round pick, but my wild card is who I'm going to pick first because of Trav's strategy, because I want a strategy to meld. So I don't want McCarty to necessarily just get killed right away. So he could be in the first wave, though, and I do agree we need a swarm strategy. My first pick is going to be Miguel Cabrera, because Miguel is going to befriend the ape. Because Miguel at first base, every player, he's chatting him up, and everyone loved Miguel Cabrera. And he could go, and I think that they would have a good time. He would get the gorilla's guard down, and but at the end, the gorilla would be saying, "Et tu, Brute," because he would never see it coming. He thought that humans and apes could be friends, and then wham! McCarty comes in from behind because the ape has let his guard down because Miguel Cabrera's chatting him up, talking about the things that interest gorillas, and apparently Miguel Cabrera. So I think he could be a sneaky, like, double agent. I think it
fun pick out of left field, Brandon. I mean, first base.
Out of first base.
I mean,
and I think Miguel is going to set the table for the heavy hitters that are to come. So that's my first pick is Miguel Cabrera, and maybe gives our first wave a better fighting chance.
Well, I like that pick, Bran. I'm going to crap all over your strategy because my first pick, X Factor, is Cohen Carr. And do you remember...
What's he going to do, jump over the gorilla?
No. Do you remember the fight between Ben Askren and George Masvidal, where they... so George Masvidal ran up to Ben Askren, gave him a flying knee to the face as the fastest knockout in UFC history.
Okay.
That's what I want Cohen Carr to do to the gorilla. It would need somebody with maximum upward thrust. And I realize the percentage chance of this working is very low. But in the magical moment that could possibly connect, you could have something that really swings the tide. Or at least it's something for the gorilla to play with while our heavy hitters show up.
Miguel could distract him enough so that Cohen Carr could come in with a flying knee. So that still works.
Okay.
Do you want to snake draft it, or?
Yeah, sure. Well, I decided that I couldn't say one nice thing about MSU without saying something bad as well.
I'm going to say the same thing.
My second pick is Jacoby Windman.
That's what I was going to say.
No way!
Yeah, but the problem is, guys, you can't actually have a weapon.
Yes, you can. Because Jacoby we sent in the second wave after there are body parts strewn everywhere.
Oh, no!
So he's going to pick up an arm, maybe a femur. Is there a rule against that? That's the reason why humans are at
You're
the top of
using
the
a
food
human.
chain, is because we have the intellect. And we realize there's going to be casualties. Use that to your advantage. Give Jacoby his weapon.
You just figured this out, Code. You send in 10 guys to get freaking obliterated. Pick 7-footers, like guys who have the most longest femur bones.
Start sharpening femurs.
Because, no weapons. We'll just use human femurs. You nailed. Wow.
If it doesn't work, he was a linebacker. Like, he's an athletic dude, so at least he can run at him.
Was it Winman who used the helmet, or was that another player? Okay.
Yeah, no, he was the helmet swinger.
All right, that's a good pick, Code.
Thanks,
yeah.
bro.
I think the baddest dude that I remember in all of Michigan sports is Ben Wallace. I don't think anyone I remember Ben Wallace going up against Shaq, and Shaq would back down. So I think Ben Wallace has got to be one of our star guerrilla fighters. So I'm going to pick Ben Wallace next.
Great choice. Ben Wallace, great choice. When I think of elite, almost the athlete position that maybe most humanly is like a freak athlete, like a gorilla, I think of defensive end. And I'm picking one who is a maniac in the brain as well, and Chase Winovich. He could possibly do the Miguel Cabrera if we are just getting our butts kicked as well. He's a friendly guy, and he could just distract. That dude is crazy a little bit as well. He's dabbled in the conspiracy theory world now. Appreciate that. And I think he would be a good member of the team. And then for the next pick, I'm going old school Lions with Corey Schlesinger. Just a bowling ball of a man. Yep. One of my favorite Lions of all time. Bring out, maybe he can once use some of the dead guys who go before him to build up that neck roll that he'd wear, and just run full bore into that gorilla, knock him off his balance or something. But Corey Schlesinger.
Does that put us at 6?
I don't know.
7.
We got a few more.
You're pick 8.
Okay. I'm pick 8. Okay. I'm gonna go with. I got 3 guys I want to pick, and I can't pick all of them. I'm gonna go Isaiah Stewart. Beef Stew is a fighter at heart. Like, the league hates him for it. I love him for it, and I can't say the words Isaiah Stewart without thinking of the time he's got blood on his face and he's trying to fight everyone just to get to LeBron. I love him forever because of that, because I need more people to try to get at LeBron. So Isaiah Stewart is going to bring that same energy to our gorilla fight.
For my next pick, I'm going to go Kenneth Grant. We just need some more size in there. Dude's a freak. Doesn't have any specific role. I think he's just going to go in and just try and do some damage. But I switched up my next pick because, Trav, you mentioned having a little bit of the crazy aspect. So I'm going to go with Max Scherzer back. Because, listen, we're talking some pretty wild strategies here. If you told Max Scherzer, hey, Max, we need your femur, I think he's one of the rare people that you could convince to be like, all right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to donate my femur. I'm going to be part of the first wave. If you need him to start playing mind games with the gorilla somehow, he will figure out a way to do it. He's a bit of an X factor. He's not going to be if you could hurl bones, maybe he's going to be able to do it faster than most other Michigan men. So, he's got a lot going for him. I think he could give us a bit of an edge where you might not see it from an initial strength perspective. I think he offers a lot in the crazy mentality. He's a psycho.
Was that the 10th or 9th pick?
That was 10th.
Wow, we did great. Good
Do you
job,
have honorable
team.
mentions?
Yes. I got a few.
Fire them out.
My next 2 picks would have been 2 former fullbacks for Michigan. One of them is a current fullback, Max Bredesen. The dude is just a bowling ball of butcher knives. Other teams hate to see him coming. Especially, all his highlights are usually taken on some of the best players, Caleb Downs for Ohio State or Alabama. Or like he'll find a player and put them in the ground. I love that about him. And then a similar guy, Ben Mason, played fullback. He also played defensive tackle. Back when Michigan didn't recruit defensive linemen, like unless they were like 240. So the dude was just a fighter at heart. He had the mohawk and just a beast. So Ben Mason and Max Bredesen, both fullbacks for Michigan.
Good choices. I'd like to give us an option for another strategy, and that strategy would be kangaroo warfare, where kangaroos will wait in the water for their enemies to come to them, and then they'll try to drown them. So I'm picking Michael Phelps for honorable mention. If we can get the gorilla into the water, maybe we can have a little bit of an advantage there. Still don't like the odds, but honorable mention, Michael Phelps.
Can you imagine trying to drown a gorilla? That sounds impossible.
It might be. That sounds harder than fighting him on land to me. That's probably why Michael Phelps ended in honorable mention.
I guess that's another thing to discuss. Like, is our strategy overall to, like, through blunt force, knock out this gorilla? Or are we trying to choke it out?
Code, you answered it earlier.
I feel like the people aren't going to accept it, though, even though it makes sense.
It makes sense. Like, screw them. That is a great answer. It's not a weapon. We're using humans. And the question was, can 100 humans beat a gorilla? And we're using humans.
If that doesn't fly, we could get into even more questionable waters, and we could have really big people and also some very little people. And you wouldn't have to, you just throw them.
Are you saying use babies as cannonballs?
I never said that. Those are words that you're putting into my mouth. The door is wide open with possibility. That's all I'm saying.
That's a wild strategy, but I like it.
I prefer the femurs. I'll put that out there. But I'm just saying, that's the edge that the humans have, is their brain. They can get creative with it. You have options. And so if you're taking away that part of the human anatomy, what are we even doing?
True.
It's true.
It's true.
Are we talking Pistons, or is this the end of the pod?
So that's it for our sports podcast. Yeah, we should probably talk about our boys over in the Motor City. Pistons kind of getting screwed a little bit in their series against the Knicks. Were able to steal a game back, and now they're coming back to Detroit for a must-win game. Guys, how are you feeling about this series overall? What's your level of hope currently at for the team in this series? Maybe moving forward beyond this series. Where are you at right now?
Trav, you said you knew where you were going with this. What's your hope meter?
If we did this podcast on Monday like we typically do, shout out that we're going to be doing it, probably uploading it Wednesdays from here on out. So if you're still listening, the hope meter would have been dead in the water because the Pistons got brutally screwed. And like we always say, game doesn't come down to one play, but sometimes it does. And when the refs come out after the game and say, yeah, we missed that call, that sucks even more. So the Detroit versus everybody, I wondered if after that game, there was like three options in my head. The Pistons roll over and die. They band together with that. This is just another Detroit versus everybody thing, and we storm back with an epic comeback. Or they just have a malice at MSG and fight everyone. And those are my three options. The Pistons won in between now and then and are down 3-2 now. So the hope meter is back up. I'm thinking hope-wise, I'm going to go on my hope comparison is Star Wars New Hope.
Oh, man. I can't believe you took mine.
No, what? Well, I talked a lot about the build-up, so you tell me why, Brandon.
No, I would love to
also
hear
had
yours
that thought. I didn't commit to it though.
because I feel like we'll probably be different. So you go ahead.
Well, in A New Hope, is that where Leia's planet gets exploded?
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel a little confident right now, and Darth Vader's leading me by the hand to the window, and my home planet of the
Alderaan.
Little Caesars Arena is about to get exploded.
Okay, so actually we're pretty similar. Because yeah, my New Hope meter was the fact that you think of it being a new hope because, you have the rising of Luke to help the rebellion, but also at the beginning, like his surrogate parents, it shows them as like charred skeletons that they burnt to death. And then his mentor figure just gets disappeared by Darth Vader, and of course there's Alderaan that blows up, and it's actually pretty grim movie if you think about it. So
Children's movie.
I A New Hope is the beginning of a great saga for Star Wars, but also there's a lot of death in it. I'm not feeling great. I I could see the Pistons even winning this series, but I also don't think that the Knicks are very good, which is kind of a crazy thought. They're the third seed, right? Watching this series, I'm just like, man, I think the Pistons are better than the Knicks. Maybe take a victory lap a little bit. We did kind of call the fact that the Pistons would get screwed because they're
Yeah.
playing the Knicks. They got screwed. So nailed that one. But watching the series, I've been struck by the fact that the Knicks have really been hard carried by their stars. Karl Anthony Towns has hit some stupid shots. Jalen Brunson, for as annoying as he is, as much as he's on the Mount Rushmore of awful athletes that we hate, he's putting up 30 points a game. And other than last game, loser, the Pistons are, I think, a star short. And one more star added to this equation, this team would be so dangerous. But I just don't think they quite have the makeup of what a team would need to be truly dangerous. But, maybe the star's on the team and hasn't quite developed yet. Maybe he's injured. I'm not sure.
Isaiah Stewart?
No. But still a beef stew. But I'm not sure I believe that, but it's possible, I guess. But I think that they're a piece short of being a true contender. So that's where I'm at. I had the New Hope, same as you, Trav.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I initially thought New Hope, and then figured I need to go in a different direction.
Smart.
So
Yeah,
I
too smart.
decided to go Hope Solo.
I almost went Hope Solo
Did
too.
you? I'm realizing that either one, we're just all dumb, or there's not
Yes.
that many Hope references that I could think of.
Yeah, maybe that's
'Cause
it.
I was still even struggling to think of how I compare this team to Hope Solo. The only thing I could think of is when you'd watch the U.S., still now, but especially back in the Hope Solo era, all the U.S. athletes were just like hulking, physical, dominant, and they would play against like South Korea, and the goalkeeper was like 5'3", and they could just chip her. Like she could try and jump, and she couldn't reach the crossbar. But like Hope Solo and company, they were strong athletes, and so this team. This Pistons team, they've brought back physical basketball to the city of Detroit. They're they're really a fun physical brand. I love Asar really popping off in this last game, scoring his season high. I think it was a season high, or at least his postseason high, like 22 points, and almost all of them were dunks or free throws. Like the dude just soars. And then you got Duren, who's getting boards and coming up with huge putback dunks. You love to watch it. They're very fun to see, physical type team that can really dominate a team. Like Brand said, I don't think they're quite there yet, but they're so young. They're so young.
So young.
They have so much potential, and the growing pains are only natural. So I think that maybe they could be a piece short, but I think that piece could just be experience. And I think they'll get there eventually. They could have a really bright future in store, similar to the U.S. women's national team of old and of current. But it's just going to take some time for them to get there.
One last hope comparison for me is Cade Cunningham is proven he's Hope Diamond to me. He people were a little nervous the last few years with injuries and his team just sucking, but he has proven he is an all NBA caliber player.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of the team, I agree with both of you. There's maybe a star away, but I think the Pistons have the best role players in the league because there's 9 of them, and then Cade. They all do their part really well. Cade, man, he has proven to be really impressive, and we got ourselves a really good one there.
Let me ask you guys a question. There has been long speculation of a Detroit, I want to say reunion, but it's not really a reunion, but to bring Devin Booker to Detroit.
I'm all in.
So let me just toss another grenade in there, a la Ja Morant. What if? Because I don't know, maybe you guys can help me picture what would it look like to get Devin Booker? Is it a trade, or I don't know, is his contract coming up? What would you think about making a big trade? Because I just watched the Bucks get eliminated. I just watched them kind of melt down.
Yeah.
And now there's people saying they will never compete for a championship again. What if it's time for the Bucks to rebuild? We send some young stars, not Cade, but we send some young stars, and they send us Giannis.
We kind of
Would you
did
be
this
for that, or do you not like that? What would that do to the team?
We kind of did a hypothetical a little bit with Shohei Ohtani and bringing him to Detroit, and what would we give up? Would we give up Jared Goff? And all of us were like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, Jared. Shohei Ohtani is the next Babe Ruth. Giannis is a freak."
I didn't take that stance, and I don't know if I'm.
Oh, you didn't?
I don't know if I'm a bad mayor of Detroit, GM of Detroit, for saying that.
No, you just love Jared Goff so much.
I love
No,
Detroit.
you're just dumb.
I love the Lions so much because sure, if you can get a serviceable quarterback to replace him, but that's a big if.
Mm-hmm. Giannis is a generational talent. It's tough because you just saw what Giannis did with only Damian Lillard, and then Damian Lillard got hurt. Yep. It takes a whole team. Having just 2 stars, look at the Knicks. They're not going to get past this series. If they do get past the Pistons, I don't think they're going further, and they have 2 stars. You still have to have the supporting cast. Kind of the Lakers are doing the same thing. They got Luka and LeBron. LeBron arguably second best player ever. Luka, maybe the best now, at least sometimes. And the rest of their team is not good. So if we don't lose everyone in the trade, which for a trade for Giannis, you probably do give up the whole team.
Yeah. I don't think that you'd be able to keep enough pieces to make it worth it.
But at the same time, Giannis is turning 31, I think.
Right. That's the other thing.
So you get 4 or 5 years.
I think the only way you acquire him is through free agency.
What if you traded Duren,
Ivy,
traded Asar? It's getting painful.
Yeah.
Next year's first. They probably want more.
Yeah, they probably want 2 or 3 firsts.
Well, do they want firsts or do they want players?
That's true. Although if you're trading away Giannis, you're building your team. You're not going to be instantly better, maybe. Unless you do get a haul. Maybe they do.
Because Detroit's got a lot of young players. I mean, I didn't even mention Ivy or Holland.
Giannis and Cade would be fun together.
This is an insane take, but I don't think I do it. Which is so dumb. We're probably going to get bounced in the first round with the team we have right now. And I'm thinking about not taking a trade for Giannis.
I'm kind of feeling the same way, Trav, and that makes me feel even worse about it. That we both think that means we're probably wrong.
This could be an all-time look-back moment for us. when we look back at this in 4 years and the Pistons didn't do anything in the next 4 years. Like, remember when we said we wouldn't take Giannis for trading these guys who ended up not doing anything?
Well, don't worry. You two said you won't, so I'll say I will.
Good.
Trade the farm, get Giannis, get a ring, and then we'll start rebuilding again. Got a ring though.
You know what?
I'm still not sold.
No,
Like I don't
stay over there, Trav.
Bran, you just want me to get roasted. The Discord's going to be rough in a
it's
day
not
or
an either
two.
or because
it's
they're
gonna.
not trading for Giannis, and Devin Booker is, I still think, a pipe dream. So
Devin
that's
Booker's
just a
still got a year.
hypothetical.
I think Devin
Hypothetical to
Booker's
think
still
about.
got a year on his contract, so he's a tough one to pull away right now, and he's got a big contract.
Big contract, yeah.
So who did you say we had to give up? Duren and who else?
All right. I don't know. I'm not an NBA trade machine, but I'm thinking they're gonna want probably like 3 solid like future pieces and a first at least, first or 2.
Probably
so
2 at least.
Duren is gonna replace him at center.
Yep.
Asar's gonna come in,
Asar.
and then I think they might want Ivy too.
Yeah. Ivy is easier to part with because there's no recency to him. Like, we just watched the Pistons get 3 times better without him this year. And so, like, I still think Ivy's an important part of this future of this team. Maybe the second best player on the team when he comes back. But it's a little easier to disconnect him. Duren, I also love him, but he's a 12-10 guy. The thing is, it's a culture thing as well for me. I know I'm wrong in saying no to Giannis. I know the wrong answer is saying no, I'm not taking Giannis.
I think we're just way too like close to this picture because we love these players. And I think if you look at it on paper, you're like, yeah, you take Giannis. You ship those guys away. So I think I might be switching. I wasn't completely sold either way, but I think I'm just too attached to these players.
I'll stay then, just so there's a punching bag in the Discord later. And I am convincing myself to stay because Giannis is 31, I think. And there is something to be said about having the young talent. Like, in a rebuild, they're always talking about they're the youngest team. They've got so much potential. Well, we do have a young team, and we're fighting very valiantly in these playoffs. Should be up 3-2, heading to a home game in Detroit on Thursday. There's something to be said for that, and the longevity of this team potentially being good is there. So I'm sticking with the team that we've got, hoping that Ivy can help push us above. Maybe one more player we can sign a co-star with Cade. That has to happen, but maybe not a max. I'm not sure, but I'm going to stick and not take the trade for now. I'm not selling the farm. Bring it on, Cody Thomas. I'm ready to fight you in the Discord tomorrow.
Oh, boy. Well, make sure you balance out those fighting words in the Discord with some mailbag questions and also your thoughts on the great gorilla debate and maybe some of your own nominations for, either just in general who should lead the team, but especially guys from Michigan's past or present. Before we wrap this thing up, is there anything you guys are jonesing for?
I've been rewatching Andor.
Me too.
To get ready for season 2, which is now out. So I don't know anything about season 2, but rewatching season 1, man, this is maybe one of my favorite all-time shows. I love Andor.
Wow, that's a big comment.
Yeah, I love every character. Love them all, good and evil. They're just great characters. I'm realizing that Stellan Skarsgård is one of my favorite actors. He plays Luthen, who is like a spy / gallery owner.
Mm-hmm.
And he also plays Baron Harkonnen in Dune. And I was like, man, I love this guy.
Huh.
He's also Eric Selvig in Thor, which I don't care for that character that much, but he's fine. So that's just a little bit of a sampling of that character or that guy. I love him as Baron Harkonnen, and I love him as Luthen Rael in Andor. So super digging Andor lately. That's what I've been jonesing for.
I'm Joan. I'm right there with you, Bran. I've also been binging The Last of Us, trying to catch up for that new season.
Do I need to? Oh, okay. So you were trying to get. My question is, do I need to watch season 2? Because I really enjoyed season 1.
Apparently, there's some huge twist that happens in like episode 2 or 3 of this new season. Do you know what it is, Code?
Yeah.
I think I know what it is, but I'm trying hard not to see what it is because I want to watch it. But everywhere they just keep talking about, the twist, and like trying to guard my eyes.
Maybe you can like do this like the Acolyte and just let me know if I need to watch it, because the way season 1 ended with their whole dynamic being a little bit different, I just didn't want to watch a whole season of this girl getting mad at what's the character's name?
Joel.
Joel.
Well, yeah, but who's the actor?
Oh,
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
I don't need to watch this young girl yell at Pedro. Like, leave him alone. He's doing what he thinks is best. Stop yelling at that handsome man. So, I could be wrong. Maybe she doesn't get mad at him, but from the previews, it looks like she's just gonna be mad at him. That's not what I want to watch. I want to watch them have a good, nice relationship and be like, I'm so thankful for you.
I want to watch clips where she accidentally calls him dad and goes, "Oh, sorry." He's like, "It's okay.
It's okay, my daughter."
Yeah, my new daughter.
And then they fight zombies. Like, that's what I want to watch. I don't want her to be mad at him. And maybe I'm completely off, but it's just like, I don't want to watch it. And I kind of haven't had the desire to, even though I loved the first season. It was really good.
Well, my real true what am I jonesing for stems back to one of Brandon's niche skills, and it just made me really want to do a trivia night with you guys at like a restaurant on a Lord of the Rings night, just to really put it to the test. Like, and it's not even gonna be like it'll be a lot of fun. And there's trivia nights down here all the time. I'm gonna start looking to see if there's a Lord of the Rings one. You guys should come down if I can find it.
The problem is that all that stuff is in there, and like Trav, you said like dementia moments. Like, I feel like that's my life lately. I'm a little afraid. Like, I'll be like talking and completely forget what I was gonna say. I'll forget what I had like for breakfast, and I think normal people probably remember that stuff. So not as sharp as I once was.
Very sharp once as if you ever was.
Yep.
Ugh. I am picturing a 75-degree day, sunny, a little bit of cloud cover, but just perfect and green and beautiful. 150 yards out from the pin and dotting an iron within 10 feet. And I'm jonesing for that feeling.
And then jumping on a ripstick down the cart path.
I don't even know what that feeling is.
Well, I was going to say I went to the driving range the other day, and I'm not going to be feeling that feeling anytime soon because it was horrific. I actually felt really good about my driver, but my irons are a horror show. So definitely got some work to do there, but man, I want that feeling soon.
Well, yeah, Dad sent out he put out the beacon for us to play in the family golf outing, and I was like feeling guilty. Like, I want him to win once.
Dad Door calls for aid, Bran. Will you answer?
Okay, but me coming to aid is like joining the orc side because I'm so bad. And I genuinely want the team to win. I wish I was a ringer, but I'm a slicer.
Here's the thing, Bran. 2 things. 1, if we were to win and it was with ringers and it wasn't like us,
feel phony.
It wouldn't be right. It'd be like when our cousin brings all his D1 golf friends and they show up and just punk everybody every time. It's like, who even are you guys? This is a fake award that you're getting. We know you're not going to
award though.
We know you're not going to donate it back. Actually, you shouldn't. That's a dumb tradition.
Dumb tradition.
But anyways,
I have no problem with them not donating it
no,
back.
Yeah, exactly.
All that was to say is like these people, like they're not they're not part of like this group that's been there year after year. It wouldn't feel earned. Like there's no tradition there, right? There's no understanding of the tradition. It's not like the same as if we were to finally win it after sucking year after year and being the most pars group and missing our birdie putts by 2 inches every single time. It wouldn't be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it won't ever happen because I don't know, like if you guys are getting better, but I'm getting worse.
I would rather lose with you guys there than win with people I don't even know.
I think Dad wants to win once.
Yeah, and he's probably not gonna because it's rigged. Because we have family who cheats, and the ones that aren't cheating are stacking their teams with D1 golfers. So you might as well show up and have a good time with the family, you know? It's for the vibes.
What if we start tucking away a few dollars every week? So on those holes where you can pay to do better, we just are ready.
Pay every
We do. Dad does.
Dad does,
he does
but
it
we
for
don't.
us, and we still no. It like usually applies to everybody, and it's like, oh great.
Yeah, we'll start
we're
par
teeing
5
off on
like
this par
100
5
yards
from
away.
150.
We
and,
did.
We get a birdie.
We had.
Good job, boys. Like, so yeah, it's all part of the experience. You know, we're probably not gonna win, but we got to go out there. It's tradition. Number 2, Bran, I think I can fix your swing. I think I figured out something big.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but I'm saving it for the Patreon and you two exclusively because I'm not just giving that out for free to anybody.
Code, you keep having balloons and stuff pop up when you do that.
Is that what that is? I thought you were just messing with the editing.
There it is.
Yeah. Oh,
How come
man.
it only happens for Cody?
I don't know.
I got better lighting probably. I got this white wall behind me. This is your sign that if you only listen to this podcast audibly, you can see our faces. Maybe you don't want to do that.
Yep. That's getting worse too, so I'm sorry.
Boy, we're
I'm so
ending
tired all the
on
time.
a real positive note.
Yeah, I've got to that precipice of life. I'm turning 35 this year. I like half my life. I'm just getting ready to roll down the other side of the hill.
Get right, Trav. You're grabbing life by the horns and going to St. Louis to
That's right.
win Papa Shot.
That's awesome.
And the Tigers are playing while we're there.
Are you
Right?
Are you gonna watch?
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just today at work I was thinking, I wonder who the Cardinals are playing. And then I saw it was the Tigers, and the game's at 1 on the day we're supposed to get there. So I called my boss and said, hey, can I have, instead of a half day Wednesday, can I do a full day? He said, yep.
As you should.
So
sometimes
shout out, boss.
Everything lines up in life, and that's one of those times.
That felt really serendipitous that they were playing there. That's either going to be a good omen that Pop Shot's going to go well, or that's just a, hey, at least the Tigers were here.
Yeah.
Either way,
great
you
ballpark.
win.
Yep. Either way, winning week.
Yeah, that's a great one to scratch off the list.
Yeah. Busch Stadium.
Props, Trev. Snaps.
All right, let's get out of here,
Balloons.
Code.
Hold up. Let me get some balloons for you. Come on. Okay, it's not going to happen. But, yeah, so this has been our sports podcast where we talk about everything but what's going on in the world of sports. But it was a fun one. I enjoyed chopping it up with you boys. Hopefully you guys in the audience enjoyed it as well. And we love getting the chance to just interact with you guys, both in the Discord and in other ways. So we may have an announcement or two coming out for you guys soon. Make sure you be active in that. And again, share with us your thoughts. What are you jonesing for? Would you be able to beat a gorilla with you and 99 friends? We want to know. So thanks again for joining us in another episode of the Jonesing for Sports podcast, and we will catch you in the next one. Sure, now I can't get the balloons.